Good evening. I wanted to talk a little bit today about something we really try to focus our subscribers and traders on here at TradeSight, which is that not every day is necessarily an equal opportunity for making money in the markets. And it's really important that you have tools that can sort of help you understand what's going on and whether or not it's the type of day where you should be really applying your assets hard to try to make money in the market, or whether it might be the type of day where you sort of sit back and watch more than anything. So here's a look at the futures. This is the SPE mini futures on a 5-minute chart. This shows you Friday's data from the 7th of September, and we're going to start letting today's data roll in real time. But what you see here are a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all, here's the close on Friday right up here. Secondly, we've got what's called a green tri-star level at 1437.50. That's a magnet point for the market, something that the market often gets drawn to. And you can see how Friday it got drawn right to that number at the close after an incredibly flat and narrow session. Then what you end up with is the action from Friday leads to the creation of today's value area, which is the light blue line here, and also the same level as the dark blue line here is another light blue line, the same number at 1434. That's the value area for today, and that's why it's shaded. Okay, so for the new trading day coming in that's about to begin, that's what we call the value area. And a lot of times when you've had narrow trading, you get stuck in a value area, you need to see if the market's got any real volume to it. And really, until you get clear of that general area, you don't really want to do much in the terms of trading. So here's how the day starts. There's the first bar. And you can see how the first bar is basically stuck right in the middle of the value area, uses the pivot, which is just above the value area high, as resistance. Very technical action just to use the pivot in the value area that way. And then the question is, now do we get an energy move? Now, what are the couple things that you focus on in the morning when you get a gap? Well, one would be if you reach up and fill the gap up here. Okay. But the other thing I'd be focusing on is whether or not we can actually break out of the value area to the downside and get under this red line, which is our lower break level. So really what I'm focusing on is anything that goes on down in this range, you're stuck in the value area, that's not that interesting. Okay. If we reach up and kind of fill this gap, and I don't see a lot of momentum on that breakout, I might expect that the gap fill in this tri-star level, that's about all we're going to get to. And if we're using this general, the red and the blue line down here as sort of support, that doesn't excite me either. So I'd like to see some volume if we do start to get a move, but I'd really like to see us either get under this red line or back above the gap fill for the day with some enthusiasm before I really get started on anything too much in my trading. Now, here's the next bar, and we put the next couple bars. Look how we reach down. We hit the lower break, our red line right here exactly on that bar. What happens from there? We're still stuck. You see this? We're still stuck basically just inside the value area. That's all we're doing. We're not doing anything else but sitting inside the value area today so far. And this is 30 minutes into the stock market. We've gone nowhere. We're between the pivot and the S1. We're between the value area high and the value area low. We reached down one tick to hit the support level at that red, what we call lower break level. So here we are 40 minutes in. Now look at a couple of bars. We try to reach higher. We've got some wicks up here trying to reach up. But is there momentum on this? Is there volume? Okay. Look at how bad the volume got. Look at the bottom of the screen down here. Look how bad the volume got very quickly by the second bar. That's not very normal to see volume that low. Even Friday, which is a Friday of all things, volume was much better for the first few parts of the day. So what I'm seeing here so far is not a very exciting market. Nothing that's enticing me to come in and trade. Now you finally do get a move up. There's a little bit of volume on that move, but look at this. In the one bar that this finally happens, we reach up and we've already filled the gap. We've touched this green tri-star level and filled the gap. So now I'm on alert at least. If we did get a move, if this is going to turn into a bigger volume move, now I'm going to start to look for long ideas, things to buy in the market, instead of trying to force plays before the market has given me a clear market direction. Let's see what this leads into after that. Here's the next bar. Okay, so far the exact close from Friday, which is the gap fill, is the high of the session on 2 bars in a row. Fading back down. Got what we call a 9-bar setup right there. That's sort of a sell signal anyways. And look at this. So all we did was reach up to tag the tri-star level, reach up to fill the gap, which is a tick higher than that. And now we rolled right back down. Right? Here we are trading basically right along the pivot, right inside the value area. Okay, and this goes on for hours. Now look at the volume drops off to nothing because you're 2 hours in. Everybody goes out to lunch. Nothing ever happened for the day. This is a high-risk trading environment at this point because there's just nothing going on. Okay, and I'm just going to keep playing it out. There's another 9-bar setup. But look at this. We're going nowhere. Even on the move to the downside here over lunch, we're using that value area low area, right, as support. Now again, I'm filling in. Here's the value area itself between this level and this level. And look how much of the day we've spent there, and the only other thing we did was reach up to fill the gap. Everything else has been lower than that level. So here we go again. We get a little sweep as we come back from lunch. They start to break. Now things get a little more interesting, potentially. We've at least broken that level. Let's see if we can get a movement. And from there, here we go. Now we're getting a move. So this is the first part of the whole day where you can really say, oh, okay, something's happening. Can be looking on the short side of the market, looking for stocks with short setups and such. And that leads all the way into the close. It's a pretty good sell-off. But it really wasn't until that part of the day when you got that sort of leading indicator from the futures that you should have been very interested in doing much in the market, because everything up here was contained in the value area between the pivot and the S1, contained by the red Gann level, the lower break level, and then the TriStar level and the gap fill above. That's not interesting trading. That's just pure mechanical, technical aspects of the market, things that the market does every day, just about every day on its own, not leading to a real move in the market. And the volume was your other warning. Look how we closed out the day on better volume than we opened. Doesn't usually happen. So just a little example of how our levels and a little bit of monitoring of the market can keep us from overtrading or getting whipped around in a non-moving market.